Even though the relationship was unhealthy, you will grieve what the relationship was not. You will also grieve who the narcissist was not. Every relationship, even the ones that are normal, always starts off with a vision. Every relationship starts off with a vision. I mean, think of if you were, let's say you had a business, okay? Every business, when the business starts, before the business begins, you have to have a vision and a mission statement. What is the vision? What are you visualizing for this business? What is the company or the business's mission? That is how you're going to carry out the vision. So that relationship, whether you and the narcissist spoke on it or not, most likely you had a vision. Okay. Most likely you shared that vision with the narcissist. Most likely the narcissist said, well, hey, yes, that's the vision. We're going to move forward with that. Right. And so they became everything that you figured you wanted, that you said you wanted. They became that. This was part of the mask. They projected you to you. That's really what happened. They projected you to you. They mirrored you to you. This is the reason why you're like, oh, I found the love of my life, right? Well, why is that? Because they were you with your self-love. And they love bombed you with you. So after that euphoric stage was over and the love bombing was done and you're pretty much locked in emotionally, this is where now you have Mr. or Mrs. Hyde, right? Like Dr. Jekyll, that's what you saw up front. And then Mr. or Mrs. Hyde when the scales fell off, right? Now reality kicks in. And I'm not talking about the the natural processes of a healthy relationship that's just normal. We're talking about like, hey, what the heck is going on here? This is fishy. And that relationship never, I mean, never got to the vision. Okay. And in most cases, you were the one that was attempting to carry out the mission for the vision. And the narcissist was doing what? The total opposite of that. When you attempted to carry out the vision, the narcissist would tear it down. And this is what you're grieving. What could have been in the relationship and who you thought the narcissists were that they were not. You're grieving that. Another thing that you are grieving is who you used to be before the relationship. You lost yourself in it. And that was done purposely. You didn't mean to lose who you were. The narcissist made sure that you lost who you were. Because although both people in a relationship, like when you're becoming one, you do lose parts of yourself that won't, it's not that you're losing the core of who you are, okay? But when two are becoming one, both people lose part of themselves, or that, I don't want to use this word, but I have to use this word, like the selfish part, where it's all about self, okay? Because it's not all about self. It's about the two people in the relationship. And if you have a family, then it's about the family, because you two have to become one in order to hold the vision and carry forth the mission for the family, right? Well, that did not happen, because that did not happen. Who you were and who the narcissist wanted you to become in subjection, not submission, in subjection to them. Okay? Because this, and I've heard this said before. I forget the gentleman's name, but he talks about this and it made so much sense that it's like the relationship is like a cult, but it's a cult of one, where they're the cult leader and you are the person that's idolizing them in the cult. Like that's what they want. And it's not a relationship that's on an equal footing. It's you're subjugated to where they're here and you're down here. And so you lose yourself or you lost yourself because it's like, hey, we're equals. And they're like, no, we're not equals. You down here. You're subordinate. Right. And so they've made you lose who you really were. And so you have to grieve that. Grieve who you used to be because you're not that person anymore. And you're about to lose who you became, which is one that was in survival mode. All right. So now that you're out of that relationship, the person who you became, the one that was surviving, you're about to lose that person too. So you have to grieve that as well. That's a lot of grieving to do, don't you think? So as you're going through this pre-grieving process, one of the things that is good to do is to give yourself closure. Don't look for closure from the narcissist. They're not going to give it to you. Okay? And it's not about them giving you anything. It is about you taking your power back. And so you have to just give yourself closure. The relationship is over. It will never be the vision that was, there with what you saw, what they said it would be, what you all agreed on, and then it did not happen. It will never happen. Okay, even with the Hoover, it will never happen. Do not go back. It will be worse than before. And then you have to start this process all over again. And you may be a little bit more damaged. You don't want to do that. And not saying that you're damaged, but you know what I mean. Again, you're not that person who you were before, and you're coming out of the survival mode. Allow yourself to grieve that. Give yourself compassion. Okay? The love, pour back into yourself. The compassion, allow yourself to grieve. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be critical on yourself. You had enough of that. You had enough of it already. All that love that you gave and that you poured out, now it's time to retrieve it and pour it all back into you. You can do it. And I know that you can do it. Why do I know that you can do it? Because you did it for them. You did it for them. Again, in the last video, what did I say or what did I share about that? You didn't lack any love. You didn't lack any love at all. You just shared and gave so much of the love that you had to the narcissist, and they just took to where you felt so drained. So you thought you didn't have love anymore. But that is not true. So you turn that love right on back to yourself, and that compassion right on back to yourself, and you just sit with it, right? Like, love on yourself, have that compassion on yourself while you are grieving, and find you a support. Find your support group, find your therapist. I have a coaching session, 6 weeks that I'm doing with my coaching clients. All right. So we can get through this process. So We'll see you in the next video where we're talking about anger.